when you have a group of kids and your kid is in there, whether you like it or not, priority will always go to your child. So right now, what's happening in America, they are taking care of their children, which is the citizens.
A lot of people are not feeling quite well, and they just want to leave the country somehow.
You want to see different things, and then you feel upset because the one time that you're in another country and you want to explore, you can't do that. And I keep saying, if I have to go back from the US without seeing New York and LA, things you see on TV all the time, it's going to be pretty sad.
I'm kind of in the middle between angry and accepting what's going on because I have to just deal with it.
Quarantine sucks. Quarantine sucks.
Honestly, I would not want to be in Italy in this moment. People are scared.
I'm supposed to graduate in July. It was my dream that my mom will be here. From the way things are looking, July is impossible.
Tell me how you're feeling. How are you nowadays?
It kind of depends on what kind of answer you want. Do you want the the real one or the expected one?
My name is Daniela Horvath. I am also an international student at Florida State University, graduating in August 2020. I sat down virtually, of course, with these 7 students from all over the world because I wanted to know how they're dealing with quarantine in the United States. I consider myself very lucky because I was able to return to my home country right before the lockdown started. These students, however, did not have that opportunity for one reason or another.
The reason why I'm still here in Tallahassee or in the US is basically because there is no available flights back to Egypt except special flights or specific flights that Egypt needs to send. And it's in Washington, D.C. and here I am in Florida.
It's a little difficult to go back when you're unsure of the status of airports and flights in different countries. I know my country shut down its airspaces. Even if it hadn't, there was an unsurety of so many connecting flights that I need to go to Pakistan, and then there's an unsurety of what if some other country I have to fly through closes their airspace. So I thought that it would be a better decision right now to stay put.
I was afraid that I might not be able to come back and finish my degree, but I still had the option to go home. Like my government was like, yours can come home. You know, the borders are open for you.
It was hard for me to decide stay more, Before this pandemic, I had to make the choice if I'm gonna stay for a PhD or not. Otherwise, I should have graduated, these days. So at the end, I think that it was the right decision.
Do you remember the day when you found out that there's a pandemic going on in the world, that there's COVID-19 happening?
It's funny enough, I was at Miami and there's like, oh, let's go to Miami Beach, let's do this and that. And then all of a sudden, like the school started emailing me, and then I started reading a lot of things on Facebook, and then a lot of things on the in the news in general, and like everyone around us is like, oh my God, COVID-19, it's getting serious. Oh my God.
I just came from Ghana, and then I heard, the stories. So I had to contact my friends in China right away because I still have friends there. And, they told me, oh man, it's really bad. They are stuck at home. We talked a couple of times. For the past 50 years, we haven't seen something like this. So it took everyone by surprise. I went to California, actually the 28th. And, I met people. It was a conference, like a bunch of people there, And then just 2 weeks after, they found the first case in California, and then everything escalated.
I'm Italian, and I had the problem of COVID-19 affected me way before I came here in the US, because my country was affected deeply and badly. So that's why I clearly remember the fear, the moment that I understood that it wasn't just a normal seasonal flu.
I started following the news since January. So that's the time when Wuhan started like the spreading, and it was really, really rough.
My first thought was like, I'm not gonna see my family. I'm not gonna see my country.
I woke up every day, every morning. The first thing is to go on Weibo and like to check what happens, anything new, anything like progressing.
I read the Italian news and then the American news, like Italian English. You just try to like make peace with the fact that you decided to go on the other side of the world.
Here, I'm with my friends here.
I'm having the time of my life here at college.
It makes me anxious, worried.
The first feeling is I'm guilty.
Do you think your attitude towards this whole situation is different because you're an international student?
The fact that you're facing this problem, being far from home and far from the family, that fact makes it to be way different. It's like now we get to know how some of the students have been feeling. Like, for example, people that have like the travel ban, for example.
At that time, I feel like isolated, and that's the time I realized, okay, I am international student. I didn't feel really comfortable talking to my friends. I feel like they don't understand, they have different positions.
There are so many students over here who are Americans mostly. Of course they're scared, of course they're trying to be responsible, but they still go out, they still meet each other, they still, hang out in public gathering. But I think what's different for me as an international student is that's something I can't think about. I don't want to take that chance of meeting more than 3 people at the same time or being in a close group with a lot of people inside a small space, because there's constantly that fear of not having your family.
Some people invite me to, I don't know, go to the beach and those kind of things, now that they're open again. But I just like don't think that's the right thing. I've been locked down and doing a good job so far, and I just like the last time I don't want to screw things up.
I feel like I've been isolated. There's a lot of talk about, what are we going to do for the citizens, which is fine, which is perfectly fine. What are we going to do for the citizens, and I don't hear much talk about what are we going to do for the immigrants.
This is what it means to be, if you're a foreigner. Now you know that you are an international, you don't belong in the country, because people are treated differently now,
So for me as an international student, it's like a slap in the face, like, oh yeah, you are in America, but you cannot do anything to survive, because anything that you do to try and make money is going to be illegal based on the visa that you have.
I quit my job right before the quarantine, or like before the COVID-19, and I've actually been reaching out to a great person. She was very understanding and she tried to help me, but we don't have resources or anyone to contact. She was like, you can do this, you can do that, but all of the options aren't actually working for me, or particularly my case.
I'm one of the lucky students and TAs that has not been affected. Teaching the language offline is like pretty difficult, but I was lucky enough to not lose my job, which is the key of me staying here.
I'm a Fulbright scholar, and Fulbright is not only helping us economically, but they're organizing gatherings among our colleagues, among all the Fulbright scholars, and for people that already graduated, they're still helping them economically. Besides that, the term of awards was only until graduation. Those people are still receiving stipends.
For me, lucky, I think most engineering and sciences, you get the out-of-state tuition waiver. So that I have. But after July 31st, I have no idea.
Do you think this is going to be so significant that it leaves a mark on your experience in the US and about the country itself?
Education is not just about a book and the content. It's about different people in your class from so many different places who talk about different perspectives. And even though that's something on Zoom, you don't really interact with them after that 45-minute or like 2-hour session anymore.
I hate online classes. That's one of the reasons that I don't take summer classes, because I feel like I know that summer classes will be online, but maybe not in the fall, so I can have things to play its time courses, because I hate online classes. I need face-to-face interaction, communication.
I miss using, and it sounds stupid, but using the FSU facilities, just be free to walk into the gym and just go to whatever machine that I want to use and just stay less than a foot or 2 feet away from another human being.
I don't care much about going out and going to the gym and going to restaurants. No, I just need a simple hug. It's weird. I'm used to it. Every single day I hug somebody and it's a struggle. It is.
Of course, none of us was expecting this, but at least for me, it's not gonna be like a very bad story to tell as a lot of people, you know.
Even if someone was in their own homeland or country, they would have experienced the same kind of boredom, anger issues, the stress, because it's a global kind of thing. It's not just a US thing, so you can't just blame it on, oh, I'm being in the US and they really hate what's going on.
It's gonna be a period where I change a lot of things in my life, or I change the way I see some things or my attitude.
I think it's an opportunity for us to, for me at least, for me to learn more about America and also more about China.
Definitely opened my eyes to what are priorities in terms of selecting the people who are running the office, and how it's so important for you not to only see taxes but also see things like healthcare, and you know, how just the quality of life has to be better for people who come from a very rich bracket to also a lower tier or like a low income bracket.
China is also being long criticized for freedom of speech, like freedom in general. And I know Western media has been saying that no human rights, no freedom of speech, no freedom at all, just evil government. That's the whole impression. It's kind of like, it's not 100% true. This opportunity makes a lot of Chinese international students realize, okay, China is not that bad as we thought. It's not, because we couldn't believe, like I couldn't believe that the situation in the United States could get this bad.
After this, I would still feel the same. I'll still see America as the land of opportunities. I'll still see America as the land where you come, because I've learned so much in my stay here that I'm not gonna let a pandemic change that.
I already studied abroad and I was like, great, I just need to go to the US at this point. Like, that's the only thing I'm missing.
I do feel grateful. I feel grateful that I could have been here. I feel grateful for the places that I have been able to visit. So there are times when I feel like I've still seen a lot, I've still traveled, I've still had this opportunity to do my master's here.
And I'm very glad I did it. Like, the opportunity that I had here, I would probably not have in any other place in the world.
I have a lot of friends here, and most of them, if not all, are international students as well, sharing cultures, learning a lot from our part of the world, for example.
I hope that people from different countries and different cultures could have the opportunity like us. We can talk about it and we can have like conversations, and it's not like hostile, it's not like blaming each other.
I'm not really, scared about what will happen in the future. I think things will be okay. Yeah, I think I've worked hard enough to, survive the next 6 months.